हेलो एवरीवन। आज के एपिसोड में आप सभी का स्वागत है। आज हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं द बेस्ट ऑफ इंडियन सिनेमा एंड टुडे वी हैव आर्यन व्यास इज फ्रेशली कमिंग अप, मतलब बीमार
Not
होके
not
आया है
really
वैसे।
freshly, but yeah.
सॉर्ट ऑफ बीमार हो गया
Basically,
है।
I got sick thinking about all the Hindi films I would have to add to the list, considering कितना खराब साल था हिंदी सिनेमा के लिए. But we did manage to watch a few good films.
हाँ,
Anyways,
मतलब मेरे लिए तो जरूर ही, क्योंकि मैंने बहुत कम देखी, लेकिन
okay.
यस तूने एक्चुअली काफी सारी देखी, सो
भाई
मैं
आपने मामी में आपने ही सबसे ज्यादा देखा है. ओके, सब जगह
यार
प्रेस कार्ड लेके सबसे ज्यादा मूवीज आपने देखी है.
यार मजा आ गया था, लाइक दैट वाज अ फन
Definitely,
ईयर एक्चुअली,
yeah.
बट यस मजा आ गया था वो साल, इस साल मामी में। सो
Hmm.
यस, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल थैंक यू सो मच गाइज फॉर joining us and welcome to my discussion of the best of 2023 Indian cinema edition. Today we have Aryan Vyas, like a semi sick semi, मतलब थोड़ा है, जगा हुआ है, and he's gonna talk about his favorite films of 2023 from Indian cinema. And also, before starting the podcast, please do subscribe to my channel, and like you'll get these kind of videos where like ऐसे मिलते रहेंगे recommendations भी. So
Loved
yes,
Kalka
let's.
discussion, man.
Oh wow, thank you
Yeah,
so much, बहुत
I was
बहुत
in the
धन्यवाद।
chat silently watching, like
अरे वाह
observing.
सही है, सही है। अच्छी बात
Yeah.
है, अच्छी बात है यार। सो आज होप करते हैं लाइक और भी ऐसे साइलेंट में रहने वाले लोग ऐसे देखे जरूर। सो होप सो, यस। बट लेट्स गेट राइट इनटू इट। आर्यन जी बताइए।
Let's
वैसे
just
तो
brush
यस
through some
एब्सोल्युटली।
honorable mentions if that's okay.
Oh yes, sure, honorable
Yeah.
mentions from the
So
starting.
I think when it comes to Indian films, there's surprisingly one that came earlier this year, and which was a tender family drama. I mean, it was in spirit like movies that we grew up watching, and a lot of people are rediscovering now movies like Monsoon Wedding. So I'm obviously talking about one of the persons who was AD on that film, who made his first feature debut with Gulmohar, and that was a very very tender film. Could have been better at places, could have been more polished. Some of the subplots seem thoda shoehorned ऐसे,
Hmm.
but a really effective film. Kind of reminded me in parts of Sharma Ji Ki Tervi, a film that came out last year, which was the directorial debut of Seema Pawa. So I love such tender, smaller films that aren't
सीमा
trying
पावा की
to.
तो राम प्रसाद की तेरवी है, राइट? वो
Ram
तो
Prasad Ki Tervi. What did I
यस,
say then?
शर्मा जी की बेटी, आई थिंक।
No, no, no. Okay,
नो,
clearly,
शर्मा जी
sorry.
की बेटी इज अरे
हाँ,
ताहिरा
yes,
कश्यप
definitely.
खुराना की डेब्यू फिल्म विच
Yeah,
प्रीमियर्ड एंड मामी। मामी के हैंगओवर से बाहर
yeah,
निकलो सर।
yeah. Yeah. Too many hangovers going on around right now. But anyways, Ram Prasad Ki Tervi. Thank you for correcting. And another honorable mention, the last one from the Hindi films. I second last from the Hindi films that came out this year. I am actually sitting with my coffee. Thank you. So the thing is that I didn't expect this film to be on the list because it just came out 2 3 days back, and given the track record of how Excel's movies have been doing in terms of their moral condescending tones lately, no one expected it to be good, especially after the disaster that Archie's was. Not in terms of numbers, obviously it did good, but of course I'm talking about Kho Gaye Hum Kahan, the
ओह वाह।
directorial debut of Arjun Viren Singh, right? If I'm not
हम्म।
wrong. And that was a really really textured film that truly got what being a Gen Z on social media meant like, and it didn't just feel like a movie that was trying to mimic the Gen Z. It was like obviously it had those broad attributes that you would associate with this generation, with these kind of hijinks in cinema, especially when it comes to coming of age rom-coms. But it seemed it went beyond just making it feel like it's trying to replicate and mimic this era, because the characters were structured in such a way, they were juxtaposed in such a way in such scenarios that we watch the world through them. So we know that the choices that they are making, we have all had the same questions. I mean, by I mean people from the Gen Z, people like me, okay, people who are as young as me. So we have grown up. We have in the recent years asked ourselves the same questions, and we try to maintain this semblance of confidence on our social media, and of
बट
course, it
आर्यन
eventually comes crashing down. Yeah,
बट आर्यन जब भी मैंने देखी ये फिल्म, मैंने लाइक
yeah,
मैं बोलूंगा मैंने अब तक सिर्फ आधी देखी है, आधा देखना मुझे बाकी है। लाइक
yeah. Okay,
मैंने सिर्फ उन दोनों का झगड़ा होता है तब तक मैंने देखी है, मैं बोल सकता हूँ
okay,
फर्स्ट
okay.
हाफ आई वुड से,
Yeah.
लाइक इन हिंदी सिनेमा।
Hmm.
बट
Main
मैं
conflict that they kind of
मेन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट एग्जैक्टली। सो मैं वहां तक देखी, लाइक इट फेल्ट समवट लाइक बैंगलोर डेज एज वेल, और थोड़ा दिल
yeah.
चाहता है क्या झलक वैसे वो सब, लाइक
Definitely.
थोड़ा
I mean, even if you look at Kalki's character, then she's basically the same surrogate that the older love interest that we get in Dil Chahta Hai, right? I mean, the beats are the same, but it's clearly catering to a new generation. It's a new spin on a very familiar template. I just don't think it is that committed to its character arcs because some of them feel. I think majorly it's because. Zoya Akhtar and Reema Gakti have, for unfortunate reasons, have gone down this rabbit hole that they feel the need of morally posturing their themes to hit them home, to reinforce them, which obviously doesn't work here as well. It didn't work in parts of Made in Heaven season two. Neither does it work over here. So yeah, it's a really good movie. I mean, people should definitely watch it. It's a really big surprise, and Ananya Pandey is good in it, surprisingly. I mean, I don't want to diss her, right? But I think directors, more and more directors, should know how to cast these actors, right? It's not like they can't act. You have to give them, you have to direct them in a certain way. So, and even she was good enough in Geraya film that I did not like at all. But yeah, let's not go there because Amarty is also in the chat. I can see.
हाँ, ज़रूर, नहीं क्योंकि आप
Yeah.
आपके लिए ही है ये चैट, ये कमेंट मोरलाइजिंग 101 फीट टाइगर
Why
बेबी।
don't you go with your honorable mentions and I'll finish with my remaining two honorable mentions and then we can quickly go to our
Quickly, yes,
top five.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So honorable mention would be Good Night, which is a
Oh,
Tamil
yeah.
film. वो
Yeah.
फिल्म मैंने हार्डली लाइक थोड़े महीने पहले देखी थी। इट्स अबाउट अ गाय हु स्नोर्स अ लॉट, और उसकी
Okay.
शादी होती है। एंड
Hmm.
सो मतलब इतनी इतनी मतलब गंदे रीत से मैं बोलूंगा, ऐसे लाइक गंदी
Hmm.
रीत से नहीं, बट लेकिन इतने जोर से वो स्नोर करता है, कराटे मारता है कि पूरे
Hmm.
ऐसे लाइक उस फिल्म के शुरुआत में ही दिखा सकते हैं, बहुत लंबे खराटे मारता है बहुत वैसे। सो
Hmm.
इट्स अ कॉमेडी, बट फिर जाके इट टर्न्स आउट एज अ ड्रामा, लाइक अ
Okay.
सीरियस ड्रामा, बट स्टिल
Hmm.
आई लाइक थोड़े चीजें मुझे वर्कआउट ज्यादा नहीं किए,
Okay.
especially how they transitioned into from comedy to drama। लेकिन
Hmm.
ठीक है, it was a good watch, like
Okay.
as
Okay.
suppose to some other films।
When did this come out?
ये जुलाई में आई थी, और
Okay.
जुलाई अगस्त में आई थिंक। मैंने तो हॉटस्टार पे देखी थी, लाइक
Okay.
इसका
Okay.
थिएट्रिकल रिलीज का आइडिया नहीं, क्योंकि मोस्ट ऑफ साउथ
Hmm.
इंडियन फिल्म्स का थिएट्रिकल रिलीज
It's
हार्डली कुछ आता था।
25, 26 days or something.
एग्जैक्टली, सो इसलिए।
Yeah.
बट
Hmm.
यस, द अदर वन इज ब्रो, मेरे पास यार फिल्म्स ही नहीं बचेंगे क्योंकि मैं इतने इतने कम देखी है ऑनरेबल मेंशन में अगर।
Okay.
लेकिन फिर भी मैंने एक, दिस इज एन ऑनरेबल मेंशन, आई वुड से फराज बाय
Oh,
हंसल
yeah.
मेहता।
Ansel Mehta. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I got invited to the screening of that film by my buddy Sachin
Oh, that's
Lalwani,
great.
and
Hmm.
yes, and he's playing one of the terrorists। और फिर जाके
Hmm.
I okay, वो जो
Hmm.
English speaking, like the Gen Z kind of English speaking parts which the
Hmm.
terrorist was
That
speaking।
basically the Twitter battle.
हाँ,
Yeah.
लाइक वो ज्यादा
The
वर्कआउट नहीं कर
verbatim.
पा रहा था, बट
Yeah. Yeah.
ठीक है। बट रेस्ट
Yeah.
रेस्ट ऑल वो जो चीजें थी, लाइक हाउ दे आर क्रिएटिंग द टेंशन बिटवीन।
Especially the technical aspects, right?
हाँ, सच में।
Yeah.
और
Hmm.
वो एक साथ उन लोग सब वो प्रेयर कर रहे हैं वहाँ पे, लाइक इट इट वाज
Yeah. Yeah.
क्वाइट अमेजिंग।
Hmm.
But obviously not Hansal Mehta's best, but
Yeah.
it was a good watch.
Okay.
I think I'm good with my best, but let me check. No,
You know
I am
what's that one film that I regret not being able to watch yet that I'm pretty sure would have made to my it would have come close to my honorable mentions is the Mari Selvaraj film that came out this year. The
कौन सा वाला?
Mamanan. I don't know how to I will completely butcher
Mamanam.
it, but
Okay.
Mamanam,
Hmm.
Mamanan. Okay, yeah. So that
Achha.
seemed like, and I absolutely loved Karnan and his first film that came out in 2017.
Achha.
And I don't know why I haven't watched it yet, but yeah, I'm planning to soon, within a week.
अच्छा, नहीं
Yeah,
लेकिन मेरा हाँ, एक और एक ऑनरेबल मेंशन मुझे करना है, जो
yeah.
अब तक लाइक ऑफिशियल रिलीज़ नहीं हुआ है, लेकिन
Hmm.
इट्स गोइंग टू हैपन अब तक आई
Okay.
थिंक जनवरी या फ़रवरी में होना चाहिए। इट्स
Hmm.
अतुल सब्रवाल की फ़िल्म है बर्लिन।
Oh, right,
आई
right, right.
वॉच्ड दैट फ़िल्म इन द गाला प्रीमियर ऑफ मामी
Yeah.
एंड फिर वहाँ पे लाइक इतनी भीड़ जमा हो गई थी फॉर दैट फिल्म,
Hmm.
like people were going crazy about this film to watch this film.
Hmm.
It starts off as a spy thriller kind of a thing, very well
Hmm.
made, like वैसा a spy जैसा thriller जैसा बनाने के लिए had
Hmm.
like many hints of those बोल सकते हैं ना कि like Eastern European films या Eastern European नहीं, like European films in general about making about
Okay.
films about a Cold War, वो Cold
Oh,
War
right,
के
right.
ज़माने की,
It's
like
a, isn't doesn't it have like a noirish quality to it?
नोवार जैसा नहीं है, लाइक मैं नहीं बोलूँगा,
Okay, okay,
लेकिन वही था कि एक बंदा जो पकड़ा जाता है, ही इज़ कंसिडर्ड अ स्पाई और उससे एक असैसिनेशन की इन्फॉर्मेशन निकालने की कोशिश की जाती है।
okay.
और लाइक Ishwak Singh is involved in that
Yeah,
kind of assassination which was
yeah.
supposed to be planned, or it's set in like in the last days of sorry, I think yes, just Cold War के तुरंत बाद वाले days, थोड़े
Hmm.
the lives of others के झलक मिलते हैं इसमें इस
Oh,
फिल्म में।
nice.
um, yes, it was good, but
Hmm.
okay, it kind of made this film kind of हिंदी सिनेमा वाला फिल्म वैसे बोल सकता हूँ
Okay.
क्योंकि
I think
आ,
I
हम्म,
kind of got tuned. I was planning to watch it at Mami, but then I saw that it's from the makers of Class of 83. And then I was like, I'll probably wait for it to come out on OTT. But it doesn't, I mean, I'm not here to diss any of the. It's like a super thing, right? Going into director's work when he's clearly trying new genres and judge it from what he's made before. But
हम्म,
does it? Would you say it has those broad stroke, melodramatic undercurrents or whatever overtunes on it? Does it
नहीं,
go that?
इतने सारे नहीं है, लाइक वी
Okay,
डोंट ओके सिंपैथाइज जैसे वो नहीं करते लाइक ज्यादा, मुझे
okay,
एटलीस्ट मुझे तो ऐसा लगा था। हाँ, बट एट द एंड लाइक आई वुडंट स्पॉइल दिस थिंग, बट थोड़ा क्लीशेड जैसा चीज लाना पड़ा वैसा मैं बोल सकता हूँ,
okay,
क्योंकि इन
okay.
लोग लाइक ऐसा था। आई फील
Hmm.
लाइक वो लाइव्स ऑफ अदर्स के से साइलेंस में उन लोग ने बहुत कुछ खेल लिया था। इस
Yeah.
फ़िल्म में उन लोग ने वो भगा के लाइक और पेसिंग बढ़ा के उन लोग ने काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें वैसे मतलब एक थ्रिलर जैसे बनाने की कोशिश की थी। बट
Okay.
ओके, इट वर्क फॉर सम टाइम, बट फिर आगे जाके ओके वो थोड़ा ढीला पड़ रहा था आई वुड से। बट
Hmm.
स्टिल अ गुड वॉच, पीपल
Hmm.
कैन वॉच इट इन ऑन ओटीटी। आई वुडंट लाइक ये फ़िल्म ऐसी होती है कि थिएटर्स में इतनी नहीं चलेगी।
Yeah.
इवन दो ये काफ़ी एक्सपेरिमेंटल लाइक उन लोगों ने किया है इस जॉनर में,
Hmm.
स्पेशली क्योंकि इस जॉनर में ये ऐसा एक्सपेरिमेंट और विदाउट एनी सॉन्ग्स, तो इट्स गुड।
Right.
लाइक और इवन ज़ी स्टूडियो लेके आ रही
It's
है, तो
backing it.
बैकिंग इट एब्सोल्युटली।
Okay, okay. I think
सो
they are in that phase where they can, experiment a bit and
उन लोग
back
करे
these
यार, मतलब
projects.
अभी
I
एक
mean,
फ़िल्म
they
ऑलरेडी ऐसी
made a
चलने
lot
वाला
of
है।
money out of Gadar too. So I know
इसलिए
probably what film you might have.
इसलिए मैं वो
Yeah,
मेंशन करने वाला था
yeah.
आगे,
Yeah.
लेकिन हाँ, सो
Anyways,
ऐसे, सो यस, दीज आर माय ऑनरेबल मेंशन, सो लेट्स गेट इनटू इट। um
I have two, three more. I'll just quickly brush
yeah,
through
yeah, yeah,
them
yeah, sure, sure, sure.
because then I'm just realizing that there's actually a lot of films, like Indian films, that came out that were
Mm-hmm.
like quite moving. So I would say Fire in the Mountains, which is technically a 2022 film, but it came out on Sony Live officially in 2023 around February. So a very moving, a very cultured, textured movie uh, that is placed in Himalayas and extremely relevant. And I think it has one of the most haunting endings that I've seen this year. And yeah, really atmospheric, really lived in, and extremely mundane in its quality. I've always loved these kind of films that people who know me do know this. And I think this another Kannada film that I eventually got myself to watch around, I say, when Sapta Sagadacha Elo
लगा ही
side
मुझे.
A and B, and so
दोनों
I
फिल्म
was
को एक साथ ही कंसिडर मतलब करते हैं.
yeah, I think the director he himself considers it like a single film in some interviews. So I would say I would put them together. Although to my surprise, to everyone's surprise, I guess this part B was quite different in its approach, tone, and which did not completely work for me. And this is coming from someone who also wasn't like totally blown away by side A, but side B was definitely way more polished in terms of the filmmaking craft behind it, the editing. Oh my god, there's one hallway action sequence. We've gotten these like numerous of these sequences since Old Boy and since Daredevil came out. I mean, we have one in Animal as well, right? A film that I won't mention again on this episode. But yeah, it's a well made sequence even in that film. But the hallway sequence in Sapta Sagaradiche LO side B is phenomenal, and the way it is totally in sync with the character, uh, the rhythmic progression of the character itself, the protagonist itself. So it hits you more with a gut punch, and the way it concludes quite literally in a metaphysical zone. It has a lot of those existential undercurrents, and it goes to certain very interesting places. I just don't think it works in conjunction with side A because it fundamentally forgets about its lead, female lead, which is
Oh,
like yeah. So, anyways, people should definitely watch it. Some of the one of the best directed films we've had this year, easily. I'm really excited to see whatever this guy does next. And yeah, and again, people. I mean, I'll get a lot of snack for this, but if I were to mention two Hindi films quickly, then Jawan and Rocky Ki Rani Ki Prem Kahani in honorable
oh.
mentions. Okay, I know. Please, I hate whenever Kejo fans tend to have this apologetic tone towards showing their love for his cinema because it's stupid. People should know that his he functions on a different frequency, right? And if you're on that, you will be amazed of what wonders he can do. Having said that, it's easily one of his I wouldn't say weakest, but I think it doesn't match up to the films that he did during the 2000s, especially the mid 2000s. And yeah, I do like it better than Edel, which is a movie that I despise. But yeah, and Jawan, because again, a very weird film to put on this list because sitting over here, I can confidently say Jawan is the kind of film I would never watch in my life again because I quite literally had a migraine right after the movie ended. Having said that, it's the kind of film that got me that adrenaline rush. Okay. And just in terms of what it means for the stardom, for the myth of SRK, and what it meant for Bollywood's cinema movie going experience in general in our country this year, I think that in itself just it will always be there on the radar, right? It will always be mentioned among these top the best cinematic experience that our generation had. And it's quite fantastic how SRK has in a way rebranded himself, and it's a quite literally a thundering comeback. So yeah.
अच्छा है. Also, अच्छी बात है. So yes, but शुरुआत करते हैं. Let's with the best of Indian cinema. What would you pick? Like top five, top six? क्या like what would you pick?
I think let's go with top six.
Top six.
Because yeah,
Let's go with.
and I may or may not cheat by clubbing two movies in one of the picks. But
अरे
they
यार
are
तुम.
very much similar. I won't do that annoying thing. They are very much similar in terms of the themes and a lot of it's like quite there's a good overlap. So I'm not completely cheating over here. So yeah. But yeah, you go. I would love to hear what you have on the list.
Okay, चलो sure. Okay. Let's start. मैंने okay. The first one is Portholil, which
Okay.
is by a debutant director. पता नहीं like but I don't know the director's name. But Portholil, which stars. I don't know. मुझे भी नहीं पता. Like I just completely went into this film. मेरे दोस्त ने मुझे बताया और I just went into it. It's a Tamil film. जब भी आई थी it is streaming currently on Hotstar, I think. Yes, Hotstar. और a completely engaging murder mystery drama
Mm-hmm.
about and it stars these two police officers wherein they investigate a case. इतनी डिटेल बातें भी मुझे नहीं पता, लाइक मैं भूल रहा हूँ उस फिल्म के बारे में, बट आई व्हाट आई लव्ड अबाउट दैट फिल्म, इट्स, मैं जैसे वही बोलता हूँ कि इट वाज एंगेजिंग फ्रॉम द स्टार्ट टिल द एंड.
Mm-hmm.
Not a noir sort of a thing, but
Yeah.
still a
Good
good,
detective.
well,
Right.
detective, no, not a detective, police drama,
Okay.
but I would
Okay.
say,
Okay.
but वैसे it's set in a tribal area, वैसे वाला, but
Okay.
a person just who is just learning from like who is mostly shadowing from a person who is very much experienced, वैसे.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that worked for me, that storyline and that characters worked for me. So I know ध्रुव को वो फिल्म अच्छी नहीं लगी, बट मुझे अच्छी लगी थी वैसे. So
Okay.
that is the film. So
Mm.
next up is, okay, I think बहुत popular film है ये.
Yeah.
It's 12th Fail
Oh,
by
you have it
Mr. VVC,
on
विदो
fourth.
और विदो विनोद चोपड़ा, which
Okay.
आज ही रिलीज हुई है हॉटस्टार
Yeah,
पे.
hot stuff.
एब्सोल्युटली, मैंने उस फिल्म के ऊपर पूरा डिटेल्ड वीडियो हम लोग ने बनाया था, हाउ मच वी
Okay.
लव्ड दैट फिल्म, बट
You also in the theater
अमेजिंग.
as well, right?
हाँ यार, मैंने थिएटर
Okay.
में 1 महीने बाद देखी, मामी के दिन
Because
पे वो.
Mami tha. Yeah.
एग्जैक्टली,
Yeah.
मामी के स्टार्टिंग दिन पे, ओपनिंग डे पे ये प्रीमियर हुई,
Yeah.
लाइक सॉरी
Very.
रिलीज हुई थी.
Yeah.
बट उसी दिन में, मतलब ऑब्वियसली मामी
छोड़
इम्पोर्टेंट
के
ज्यादा
तो
था, तो मैं
नहीं.
मामी देख रहा था, और फिर
Yeah.
जाके 1 महीने
Especially
बाद मैंने
before
थिएटर
having
में
a
देखी.
press pass. Sorry, sorry. I go.
नो 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 यार, मतलब अगली बार, अगले अगले साल तुम्हें भी मिलेगा,
साथ में
मतलब
जाएंगे, साथ में
जरूर
जाएंगे.
जरूर जरूर जरूर, तभी तभी मामी में मिलेंगे भी यार, इस बार नहीं मिले थे लेकिन जरूर. बट यस, दिस फिल्म नॉट एन ऑर्डिनरी फिल्म यार, मतलब
Yeah.
कुछ अलग थी, कुछ अलग, वो बोलते ना, स्टोरीज फ्रॉम द हार्टलैंड वाली
Yeah.
फीलिंग आ रही थी. दो
Proper underdog story.
एब्सोल्युटली प्रॉपर अंडरडॉग स्टोरी, लेकिन दो वो एक काफी मेन स्ट्रीम प्रोड्यूसर, आई वुड से डायरेक्टर तो खैर 90s में थे वो,
Yeah.
विदो विनोद चोपड़ा ने
I
90s अर्ली
mean,
2000 में से.
I love how people don't count Shikhara, but I don't mind that film. I liked
हाँ,
it.
एग्जैक्टली, मैं खुद भी देखी थी, जब ये
Yeah,
आई थी तभी मुझे इतनी
yeah.
पसंद नहीं आई थी जरा
हाँ,
भी
मतलब
ऐसे.
it's yeah,
So इसलिए, but yes, his the director was in his 60s,
yeah,
60s, और वो ऐसी माइंड ब्लोइंग फिल्म बना रहे हैं, और वो खुद लिख रहे हैं और डायरेक्ट भी कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज यूजुअली पीपल जस्ट लाइक डायरेक्ट स्टफ ओवर
yeah.
हियर, यहाँ पे उन्होंने इतनी सारी, और it's also not about that person itself, like it's also about a million stories, a thousand, I would
Mm,
say, अगर if not million, thousand unheard stories, जिन लोगों की like वो प्रिपरेशन में इतनी
mm,
चीजें चली जाती है, इतनी सारी,
exactly. Yeah,
स्पेशली दैट कैरेक्टर, लाइक ऑब्वियसली we know about Manoj,
Manoj Sharma.
the
Yeah.
character. Yes,
Mm,
but we don't know about that person who was actually, who did not attempt, like वो attempt किया लेकिन पास नहीं हो पाया था वो,
exactly. Yeah,
like जो राधा भैया करके एक था.
yeah. The narrator basically.
नो नो नो, वो नरेटर तो दूसरा था, लाइक ब्रो, वो
Okay,
तो
okay,
एक दोस्त था वैसे, था लाइक एक
okay.
राधा भैया करके एक था जो सबको सहानुभूति दे रहा था वैसे. सो
Oh yeah, right, right, right. Yeah,
वैसे लाइक कि मैं नहीं हो पाया लेकिन तू हो पाएगा, और एट द एंड भी वो भी बोल
fantastic.
रहा था
Yeah,
कि एग्जैक्टली कि, लेकिन देखो, हमें सिर्फ मनोज के बारे में पता था, लेकिन मे बी उनके रिसर्च में ऐसे लोग आए होंगे कि हाँ, ऐसे लोग भी होते हैं कि जो
yeah.
खुद नहीं हो पाए होते, लाइक
But
बिकॉज ऑफ
they
सम
see it in
थिंग्स.
others.
करेक्ट, एब्सोल्युटली. और
Yeah,
फिर वो जो बोलते कि अगर ये करेगा तो इसके साथ सभी लोग वो बढ़ेंगे वैसे. So it was an amazing film, I would say. वैसे. So
fantastic. Yeah. I think it's
highly.
a proper like Sanjeev said this, and of course he watched it despite the Mami festival going on, and he came out and he had been asking me at that time on the weekend it released that tu aega chal, and I was like I really want to watch it. I like Vidhu Vinod Chopra. I like rewatched Parinda. going all the way to the theater and all. I of course love him. I would love to watch, and he ended up watching it without me because I was like dealing it very much so, and he of course got annoyed, but he came out of it and he was like, it's a fantastic film and it has like the proper, synthesis of sound and visuals and sound, because it's a very visceral film, right? In terms of its craft, it's very visceral. It's a very sensory experience watching the film, which is quite, I mean, it's a pretty generic film, right? It is a typical underdog story, and yet to make it with such aplomb command and to, oh, it's yeah. Anyways, I'll talk about it more because of course it is on my list.
ओह
But
वाह!
yeah,
हाँ, ये होना ही था यार।
yeah.
बट येस यार मैंने काफ़ी सारी बोल दी यार मैंने ऐसे मैं मुझे ऐसा
Go
लगता
on,
है
go on.
क्योंकि
Yeah.
हाँ, मैंने लाइक एज़ इन पोर्थोल एंड लाइक 12th फेल मैं
Yeah.
बचाना चाहता हूँ क्योंकि मुझे पता है मैंने कम देखी है यार फ़िल्म इसलिए सो आई
Okay,
वुड
you
लाइक
have
टू
five,
डू
right?
हाँ, हाँ, मतलब 5-6 तो है ही मामी को
Okay,
अगर
okay.
गिनते तो डेफ़िनिटली
Right,
ऐसे।
right, right. Yeah.
बट य
So
यस
I
प्लीज़।
think on sixth I have a film that I watched very like I kind of watched it out of nowhere, and I happened to love it because it was just the kind of film that I wanted to watch. And there are certain films that, irrespective of when they have come out, they come to you rather than you seeking them out. It was that kind of film. I'll completely butcher the name. It's Akhil Satyan's, I think, feature. The Malayalam film starring Fahad Fasil called Pachuam Athubutha Vilakkum. I'm so sorry, but
इट्स
yeah,
ओके,
I,
इट्स
I
ओके।
I really really liked this film a lot, and it's extremely long. Okay, it doesn't have to be 2 hours 50 minutes or something, but you won't feel a second of it because it is so breezy in its approach. It envelops you in its light-hearted world. And oh my god, Fahad Fazil he's so charming in it, and the kind of journey he goes on, even after watching it for like its entirety of its runtime, I could have sat there for 30 minutes more and continued to watch him go through make these stupid choices in his life, eventually to realize that he's got a good heart, eventually for people to make him realize that he's a great person and should aspire to be more. And yeah, I think it's been a rough couple of years coming out of the pandemic with so much intolerance and insecurity around us, with so much negative information that we are constantly being bombarded with. And these are the kind of films that it kind of reminded me. Okay, so sorry to go on about this for so long, but it kind of made me feel the way I felt after watching another English film, which was Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret. So it's
हाँ,
those kind of films that, I think whenever people sit down to make this end of the year list, they tend to overlook these because, oh, they are so mainstream, oh, they are so easy to make, as if they are not saying something very relevant or earth shattering about our politics of our times. They are not that relevant of, but who cares? It's a great film, and that writing a film like this and making it constantly compelling in terms of its character progression, character arc, it's really difficult. And of
कहाँ पे
course,
है
like
ये अवेलेबल?
it's available on Prime Video. So I just happened to start watching it around 10 or 11 p.m. one night. I was just sitting around, I was drinking a bit, and I was like, let's watch something light. I had a fair share of watching Bergman and all these filmmakers at that time, and I was like, I need to like tone this out a bit. So again, a film that came to me totally surprised me, and I might rewatch it again because I really want to make my dad watch it. Yeah.
अच्छी
So
बात है।
on number five, there's two Tamil films that I have rewatched twice. Like I've watched twice this year, and okay, I love Lokesh Kanagaraj. Okay,
ओह हो, हो!
but I think that since he made Kaithi, right? How do you
हुँ,
pronounce it?
येस वही है।
Uh,
सी
yeah, since he made Kaithi, I think each consecutive entry in his franchise and his LCU verse, LCU, is getting less and less interesting in its craft. And I definitely wasn't blown away by Leo, but upon rewatch, I did like it better. surprisingly. Even its second half, which I wasn't really a fan of while watching it in the theater, probably because I'd watched it in Hindi with a average audience, but who knows. So I ended
But
up,
still, Hindi
yeah,
में like
it's
Hindi में
fine.
Tamil
Yeah,
में.
it's not bad, right?
Okay.
The dub.
हम्म.
Did you watch it by the way?
नहीं 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 यार, मैंने अब तक नहीं देखी मैंने. सो लियो के फॉलो अप में मैंने मास्टर देखी बस पहली बार, सबसे
Oh,
पहली बार.
right, right, right.
बहुत अच्छी थी
Good.
वो.
Have you watched Vikram and Kaithi?
विक्रम सबसे पहले देखी थी.
Oh,
फिर
nice, nice.
अभी मास्टर देखे थे.
What
विक्रम
did
भी
you think of
काफी अच्छी.
Vikram?
काफी
I
अच्छी.
love Vikram. I love Vikram.
सेम 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 सेम.
Yeah,
एब्सोल्युटली
I
लाइक
watched it like
सेकंड
several
हाफ कुछ
times.
भी हो रहा था, बट आई लव
No, no,
लाइक
man.
यहाँ पे यही सेम चीज यहाँ पे होती है. सो
Yeah,
आई डोंट नो व्हाई, लेकिन इतना पसंद नहीं आता एज कम्पेयर टू
yeah, yeah,
साउथ में. वो जो म्यूजिक लगा के उन लोग वो
yeah,
एक्शन सीक्वेंसेस डिजाइन करता है. इट्स
yeah.
जस्ट हाउ like Edgar Wright
I get it. I get
way
it. I
they
get it. I think
they
it's
do
very
it.
Tarantino-esque as well. His style.
वो भी
It's
exactly.
because I mean, and it's also it's all these hyper violent, hyper edited movies that we have grown up watching, like Leo's opening section, the second, the scene where we are introduced to his world. Basically, it's basically an homage to Goodfellas, right? It's clearly like we are tracking him. There's a tracking shot which follows him through the back side of his cafe. And had Leo been as consistently well made as its first half was, which I absolutely loved, it would have been there on my list. But on number five, I have to place this other extremely riveting drama thriller, Viruthalai Part One.
Oh.
And I think a lot of people have said a lot about this, and people who have a lot of knowledge and inside cultural context about the events that it is kind of based upon, right? The novel it is kind of based upon, but the director wouldn't say it formally, officially. But yeah, a lot of people have already talked about it, done way better job than I could possibly do. There's a very, very good piece that Adityan wrote, and yeah, Viduthalai Part 1, definitely one of the most polished directorial films in a while. And I can't wait for Part 2. But I don't think that extensive look that we get at the end of Part 1 was necessary. But I get it. I get the need to place it like that. But yeah, go on. That's my, like, I have four more remaining. So that those were my sixth and uh, number five picks. Yeah.
Okay, hi, हाँ. So I'm sorry, थोड़ा
Hello, hello, hello.
internet issues. We are back.
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
But yes, हाँ, विडोदलाई के बारे में बात कर रहे थे बस. But हाँ, anything more to add about विडोदलाई?
No, no, no. As I said, I mean, it's quite a dense movie and it's got quite a lot of punch in its thematics, quite a lot of things to say about our society, of our culture, of what uh, the era that it is based upon. And I think it's so weighty in its themes that it practically got our internet Wi-Fi stop working. So yeah. So yeah, those were my numbers six and those were my sixth and fifth picks. Go on and then I'll go on with
ओके
my top
श्योर
four.
सो यस मेरे लिए ओके ओके आपने मेरा पोर्टफोलियो हो गया फराज हो गया 12th फेल हो गया सो
Yeah.
इट्स यार मेरे लिए एज इन टॉप जैसे यही थे थोड़े लेकिन यस आई हैव
Hmm.
सम मोर एज वेल आई हैव व्हिच आई हैव वॉच्ड इन मामी आई वुड
Okay.
से इट्स the first one is Shivamma, which
Hmm.
is directed by a guy called Jai Shankar Aryan. um,
Hmm.
मतलब मामी में इट्स आई थिंक साउथ एशियन फिल्म्स के ऊपर ज़्यादा फोकस था सो इट्स अबाउट लाइक इट्स इन दैट पर्टिकुलर कैटेगरी
Okay.
आई लव दिस इन दैट फिल्म लाइक एक जर्नी एक शिवम्मा करके एक इट्स अ कन्नड़ा फिल्म और
Okay.
शिवम्मा
Okay.
करके एक महिला होती है और उनके बारे में पूरी कहानी रहती है जस्ट अबाउट हर जर्नी अबाउट
Hmm.
लाइक डिस्कवरिंग आई वुड से वो जो फॉर्मूला रहता है राइट पाउडर फॉर्मूला जैसे रहता है लाइक लोग उसमें लाइक एक पाउडर रहता है उसमें लोग दूध या जस्ट बना के दूध में या पानी में मिला के फिर जाके लोग पीते हैं सो
Okay.
इट्स इट्स
Okay.
अबाउट दैट एंड इट्स वर्क लाइक शी काइंड ऑफ लाइक उनको ऐसा पता चलता है कि पीपल आर selling this
Hmm.
play like people can be self dependent women especially can be self dependent by
Hmm.
just selling this और
Okay.
फिर
Okay.
लोग like it's about her journey
Hmm.
it's kind of comedic but it's
Okay.
about her journey
Is it satirical in its approach?
yes absolutely
Okay.
it's kind of satirical as well and it's about her journey to selling this uh, I would
Hmm.
say this baby formula I would baby formula bhi nahi bol sakte it's a normal formula where you can just mix it with water or milk और फिर
Okay.
जाके
Okay.
लोग को बेच रहे हैं बट कुछ भी रहता है सो यू मतलब कुछ भी परेशानियां होती है कुछ भी इफ यू आर सिक जस्ट ड्रिंक दिस शी इज
Hmm.
फोर्सिंग एट वन पॉइंट वैसे लाइक इट्स
Hmm.
said in set like it's interpreted sorry it's executed in a very satirical way I would say
Okay.
so
Okay. It's like a
that
running gag.
एब्सोल्युटली लाइक वैसे
Okay.
और उसी की वजह से इट्स सो गुड द फिल्म इज सो गुड
Okay.
एंड आई लव्ड इट जब भी थिएटर्स में या फिर ओटीटी में अगले साल आएगी सो डेफिनेटली पीपल शुड चेक इट आउट सो दैट्स
Hmm.
द वन द
Hmm.
अदर वन इज अ फिल्म लाइक आई थिंक तूने देखा होगा इंदिराज इमरजेंसी
No, I couldn't. I couldn't watch it.
तो
Yeah.
ध्रुव को
Earlier we talked about whether it's okay to place documentaries or not, but yeah, good,
नो इट्स
good,
ओके
good choice.
इसलिए
Interested
तो
to.
सो इंदिराज इमरजेंसी
Yeah.
ओके ध्रुव का पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू में मुझे पता चला लाइक
Yeah.
अबाउट द रिसर्च एंड ऑल थिंग बट
Educational and
यस बट स्टिल
PowerPoint. Yeah.
स्टिल आई फाउंड इट वेरी गुड लाइक
Okay.
मुझे मैं देखो मैं वही बोलता हूँ कि मैं ज्यादा डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज नहीं देखता आई डोंट नो
Hmm.
सो लाइक हाउ टू प्रॉपरली जज और like how to
Yeah, yeah,
critique
yeah.
on a documentary because what's like the landmark or the stamp mark for documentaries I couldn't
Hmm.
figure it out till yet क्योंकि अलग अलग तरीके के documentaries आते रहते हैं like even
Exactly. Yeah.
I like the way how Michael Moore makes his documentary because क्योंकि
Hmm.
वो खुद director कैमरा के
Hmm.
सामने आते हैं इसमें
Hmm.
इस डॉक्यूमेंट्री में ऐसा नहीं है it's more about
Archive,
archival
archival
footage
of
and even
archival.
like many and animations as well many
Yeah, yeah.
in many parts so it was quite interesting because like वो एनिमेशन की वजह से ही बिकॉज काफी सारे फुटेज उनको मिल नहीं सकते थे फॉर
Yeah.
ऑब्वियस रीजंस क्योंकि लाइक काफी प्राइवेट मोमेंट्स थे
Yeah.
but it's still वो animation it led the way forward
Okay.
to
Okay.
give us a good experience
Mhm.
रिसर्च वाइज भी अच्छी ही थी, मैं
I
वही
mean, you
बोलूंगा
can't
क्योंकि
expect technically, so I can expect anything that is like very, very polished from Motowale, right?
हम्म,
It is the
हाँ,
least you could expect from a director like him.
absolutely. Or like, and this is coming from a director who has made so much good, like so many good films. So यार मतलब
And
मैं
shows.
प्रेस पास था, सेकंड डे था प्रेस पास था, मुझे पता नहीं था कि ओके व्हाट अ प्रेस पास डज, एंड मैं जोश जोश में मैं लाइन में खड़े रहा था, और आई वाज सेकंड
Okay.
इन लाइन फॉर दिस फिल्म इन द
Okay. Okay.
लाइक द बुक प्री बुक्ड सेक्शन, प्री बुक पीपी
Okay.
लाइन. सो
Yeah.
इतना इतना मुझे पता था इस फिल्म के लिए इतनी बड़ी लाइन होने वाली है, और
Yeah.
एक्चुअली लाइक लोग घंटों घंटों पहले से इस फिल्म के लिए लोग ने लाइक लाइन बनाना शुरू
You
कर दी थी.
watched it
बहुत
at
लोग,
Regal or
नहीं नहीं
PVR?
नहीं नहीं, इन्फिनिटी में पीवीआर
Oh, okay.
इन्फिनिटी में, लाइक वहाँ
Yeah.
पे तो
Yeah.
उल्टा का कम लोग, क्योंकि
बहुत कम
लाइक
capacity.
लाइक ऑब्वियसली कैपेसिटी काफी कम है इसलिए, इसके वजह से.
Hmm.
बट लाइक कितने लंबे समय से उन लोग ने लाइन लगा दी थी, लाइक लोग लोग 2:30 बजे से खड़े थे, लाइक
Yeah.
खड़े थे, बैठे थे.
Hmm.
सो इट वाज वर्थ their wait
Worth the
as well,
wait.
at least for me. But
Yeah.
yes, it was worth my wait as well. So yes,
Yeah.
Shivamma
It's
Indira's
soon to come
emergency.
out on,
It's
soon to drop on Netflix, right?
let's see कभी
Yeah.
आती है, देखते हैं
I
क्योंकि
mean, I don't think it would have any problem, like, considering
हाँ.
it's.
The current environment with the current
Yeah.
government, but
But I've heard, I mean, I can expect him to, obliquely take a knack at the current atmosphere as well, because that's what you can expect from good conscious filmmakers like Motowale. So that's the one of the main reasons why I'm curious to watch it, because what other substitute we would have in place of this is that Kanga Ranaut propaganda film that is about to come out in February. So I think he might actually drop it around that time, just
यू नो,
yeah,
बट आर्यन, मुझे एक फिल्म, एक डॉक्यूमेंट्री थी जो मुझे इस वीडियो में भी मेंशन करनी थी, जो
sure, sure,
लास्ट टू लास्ट ईयर ईयर आई थी, और जब जस्ट अभी तूने मेंशन किया कि
yeah,
कंसिडरिंग द पॉलिटिकल क्लाइमेट वी आर इन राइट नाउ, तो वैसे
yeah.
like a documentary which is fit
I
for
think
this
I
kind of
know.
right now is
Ridley
Talking with
Kapur.
Fire. Right, sorry,
Talking with Fire.
yes, I think Talking with Fire, yeah, Writing with Fire,
Writing with
it,
Fire. Yeah.
Writing with Fire,
That's the
yes.
one I think, or was it just nominated?
ओ
It was
नहीं नहीं
just
नहीं,
nominated.
वो डॉक्यूमेंटरी नॉमिनेट हुई थी, लेकिन
Yeah, didn't
जो
win.
यस फ्ली के सामने थी, फ्ली भी नहीं जीती थी,
Oh,
लेकिन
right.
आई थिंक और एक फिल्म थी जो
Yeah,
जीती, आई थिंक
yeah.
अमेरिकन
Com,
म्यूजिक के बारे में कोई तो
yeah, right, right,
डॉक्यूमेंट्री थी.
right.
सो बट अमेजिंग 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 डॉक्यूमेंट्री अबाउट दैट अबाउट खबर लहरिया,
Yeah.
न्यूज़पेपर,
State
डिजिटल
of journalism
न्यूज़पेपर.
in India.
Yes,
Like,
a state of journalism of those smaller journalists, or
yeah,
smaller peoples who
yeah,
are running, and on a
yeah,
very small budget. और सच में काफी अच्छी फिल्म थी, और they don't shy away about critiquing the current
yeah,
political climate, about
yeah,
the journalists being silenced, I would
yeah,
say. Absolutely
definitely.
amazing. But वो उसका mention,
Was
I
it
think,
screened at Mami
अरे
as well?
यार, अब तक उसकी ऑफिशियल रिलीज नहीं हुई है, मतलब
Yeah,
एज इन वैसे
definitely. That is like, yeah,
नहीं हुई है, क्योंकि क्यों
it
पता
was.
नहीं, लेकिन इट्स एन ऑस्कर नॉमिनेटेड डॉक्यूमेंट्री ब्रो, लाइक अब तक एक ऑस्कर नॉमिनेटेड डॉक्यूमेंट्री की ऑफिशियल इंडियन रिलीज नहीं हुई है. इट्स
I
इन
mean,
इट्स,
it was
और
very,
हिंदी डॉक्यूमेंट्री, मतलब समझो कि
yeah,
नॉट
yeah.
जस्ट इन इन सम अदर रीजनल लैंग्वेज में, लाइक अगर ठीक है, नॉट रिस्पेक्टिंग दोस लैंग्वेजेस, बट हिंदी वाइडली स्पोकन लैंग्वेज, बट
I
अगर
think
दूसरी
that's
उसमें
a bigger reason for them to not release it.
हो सकता
Okay, yeah,
है.
yeah.
But yes, that's the,
Anyways,
yes, that's the thing. And the
okay.
next one is, I would say Agra. बट
Oh
ये
yeah,
ये मैं बोलना चाहूंगा इसी साल, बिकॉज ऐसा कि ये फिल्म, आई डोंट नो यार, रिलीज होगी कि नहीं, मुझे डाउट लग रहा
movie पे
है, इवन
आएगी, आएगी.
ओटीटी पे भी नहीं होगी कि नहीं.
नहीं नहीं मूवी पे होगी आएगी. I think pretty
आई
sure.
डोंट थिंक सो ब्रो, मतलब इस फिल्म में
Okay.
इतनी हेवी न्यूडिटी है,
Graphic है.
ग्राफिक,
Yeah.
लाइक I would say graphic कितनी सारी, और it's but obviously the center thing is about nudity, and it's about sex. कि
Hmm.
एक बंदे, एक लेट टीनेजर्स भी नहीं बोल सकते, लाइक अर्ली 20s मिड 20s वाले लोग जो रहते हैं, इट्स
Okay.
हाउ देयर माइंडसेट वर्क्स कि about
Hmm.
those sexual fantasies which people like in their 20s have. uh,
Hmm.
it's so much like बहुत इतनी अच्छी तरीके से उन्होंने यहाँ पे बताया था,
Quite
और
divisive though at its
उसके
inception.
माइंड में घुस के वो सब चीजें बताया था. इट वाज क्वाइट
Hmm.
यूनिक, आई वुड से. और
Okay, okay.
पहले भी उन्होंने ऐसे, कनुबेल ने पहले भी ऐसे बनाई थी, बिन्नों का सपना.
Yeah.
इट वाज क्वाइट सिमिलर, आई वुड से, टू दैट, बिकॉज दोनों
Hmm.
कैरेक्टर्स के माइंडसेट, लाइक माइंडसेट भी नहीं, लाइक
I think it's the same
सेम,
same
लाइक
themes that
ड्रीम्स,
yeah,
लाइक काफी रहते हैं कि लाइक
yeah.
इमेजिनेशन ड्रीम्स की. एक लड़की वुड, लाइक एक लड़की मुझे मतलब ऐसे प्यार
Hmm.
करेगी, और एक इमेजिनरी
Hmm.
गर्लफ्रेंड. इट्स अबाउट हैविंग एन इमेजिनरी गर्लफ्रेंड.
Yeah.
Such an amazing film, so everyone should
Hmm.
check it out. Kanu Bells Agra. Next, Aryan sir, boliye.
Yeah, on my
Please.
fourth, there's a film that it's sad that not a lot of people are bringing it up in their final end of the list, which is Mani Ratnam's Pawneen Selvan 2. Absolutely a stunning theatrical experience I had. Thankfully, I got to watch it with a proper Tamil audience, like people who grew up watching, understanding the PS text by Kalki, text, the novel that shaped the culture of Tamil Nadu itself, and yeah, it was a great experience. And similarly, I had a lot of structural issues with it, the in the way I did with the first part, PS1. But A.R. Rahman's score and Ravi Varman's cinematography in itself transcend it to a, an extremely I don't even know that there's one a wide shot, okay, in the film, and when it leads to one of the most tense, enticing confrontations between lead couples I've seen in quite a while. Okay, between Aishwarya's character and Vikram's. Okay, there's one wide shot that you get following before that scene and before that confrontation, even after that, following the confrontation. And it's just the way Ravi Varman, along with Mani Ratnam's grandiose vision, the way they capture the scope and scale of the story. I have seen a lot of local people from Tamil Nadu, and a lot of people who have grown up reading these books, the novel, have their valid, reasonable complaints regarding how Ratnam chooses to end the movie, which I understand. But as someone who was just getting into it as an adaptation without having read, without having much context, even though I did skim through a lot of those beginners guide essays and columns on what Kalki Krishnamurthy's novels and works meant. But absolutely a stunning film, stunning to look at. It is absolutely pristine in its design as well. And
लेकिन
yeah,
कौन
the
सी
way
पहली पहली वाली बेहतर थी कि दूसरी वाली?
I like both equally. I like them both equally, but I have the same issues with each, which is like I think I'm there's rarely been a Mani Ratnam film that I have completely loved. But there's also the fact is that there's also been very, very less Mani Ratnam films that I have not liked at all. So he's always been one of the most interesting filmmakers. Obviously, he's a legend. He has inculcated new techniques, new cinematic forms. He's injected them into the Indian landscape. A lot of people are open, like disciples of his craft and his vision. And I think he, even at this age, people keep talking about some international filmmakers who are obviously great, and how they are working so effortlessly and so consistently at their particular age. And no one talks about how Ratnam, 40 years into his career, is still making films like he's 30. It is extraordinary. And yeah, obviously, it could have been better in parts, the way it flows from Act 2 to Act 3, but it's great. I mean, who is making such films anymore? Yeah, absolutely amazing. And on number, yeah, number three, I had Manoj Bajpayee and Devashish Makhija's Joda,
अरे
number three. But now I'm realizing, since we went on a lot about Mami, a film that I've watched twice by now, and I do think that it's a movie that is eventually at the end, for me at least, better than Joda. It is Stolen, a film that I watched
करण
at
तेजपाल.
Mami. Yeah, Karan Tejpal's feature debut. I thankfully got to watch it, rewatch it on a screener I got because I had to write a review, which I haven't still submitted. But yeah, I'll get onto it soon after I'm done. I'm over this cold. But yeah, I think Sanjeev and I watched it together again, and at Mami, right after leaving the screening, he told me that because he obviously has more insights into how a film is made, of what the sensibilities of any production, contemporary production houses are, especially in India. He told me that Karan Tejpal knows how to make an indie film, is to make it a genre film in India. And I think it is just in on all levels, on filmmaking, on each, it is blasting on all cinematic forums, according to me. And even terms of its logistics, okay, because it's a genre film. Even when, I mean, it's not going to make huge numbers, but it is definitely going to earn it. It's the kind of film people would want to go and watch, okay, because it has those I don't want to say cheap thrills, but it has those uh, typical thriller chase attributes that you would come to expect from a film like this. And it's very short. It's like 86, it's 90, 92 minutes, something like that. Extremely crisp. It knows right from its text, before we even see the first image, we are totally thrown into the world, and it is constantly engaging right from its opening scene till its very last. And it has an absolutely banger of a sound design. The sound mixing, I don't know whoever did the sound mixing over here. It is quite extraordinary. At first I thought that it was just the auditorium that I had watched in, because it had Dolby Atmos, and I rewatched it at home on my home theater, and it was retained. All those, all the scenes that jolted me in the theater, they still worked even better, I would say, upon a rewatch. It's absolutely one of my favorite Indian films in quite a while, not just of this year, but yeah, it's fantastic.
हाँ
Final
अच्छा.
two remaining, but yeah, go on first with yours.
चलो ओके सो मेरे थोड़े फिल्म्स है मैं बाकी मैं बोलूँगा लेकिन यस आई थिंक मैंने ये एक और एक फिल्म देखी थी मामी में एक्चुअली ओके मेरे और तीन मैं बोलूँगा मैं फिर जाके मैं एक अब मैं फाइनल रिवील करूँगा फाइनल दो तुम करो फिर फाइनल एक मैं करता हूँ वैसे मैं करता हूँ सो a film which will be releasing, but लेकिन मैंने मामी में देखी थी a film called Which Color कयो कयो कलर
Oh shit!
जो
I did not. Oh god. Okay. Yeah.
क्यों क्या हो गया आपने देखी
I need to. Yeah, I did.
ओके
Need
आई वुड
some
लव
serious restructuring of my list. Yeah, go on. I'm so sorry.
नो नो इट्स
I
ओके
think
बट
we talked about this film, or I saw it in your story or something. Go on.
हाँ नहीं मैं आई वाज चैम्पियनिंग दिस फिल्म फॉर द एंटायर ईयर लोग
Yeah.
देख रहे थे लाइक मैं बोल रहा था कि लोग देखो देखो ये फिल्म जब भी मामी में आ रही थी तभी भी मैं
Yeah.
लोग को बोल रहा था कि चलो देखने जाता हूँ ध्रुव को भी बोला कितने बार लेकिन ध्रुव नहीं आया आई
Yeah.
वाज फाइनली एबल टू कैच अ सैटरडे आफ्टरनून इवनिंग शो ऑफ दिस फिल्म अमेजिंग फिल्म अमेजिंग
Yeah.
जस्ट एक ही कंप्लेन थी मुझे सिर्फ इस फिल्म के
Okay.
बारे में
What was it?
कि you're billing like you are promoting this film as a गुजराती फिल्म लेकिन तुम्हारी पूरी फिल्म आई नो वो जो लाइक एरिया है अहमदाबाद में
Yeah.
वो जो एरिया रहेगा कि वो ऐसे डायलेक्ट में बात करते हैं लाइक हिंदी के ऐसे डायलेक्ट में
Yeah.
या फिर कैसे लेकिन
Because
अगर
it's,
if
I think it's very associated with the dialect, associated with the community itself,
करेक्ट
right?
नो डाउट अबाउट दैट एंड
Yeah.
आई हैव कंप्लीट फेथ इन दैट लेकिन जस्ट
Yeah.
वही था कि अगर आप उस लाइक ऐसे अगर बात कर रहे हैं तो इट्स ओके, लाइक डोंट बिल इट एज अ गुजराती फिल्म, लाइक
Yeah,
बिकॉज आई वाज टोटली 100% एक्सपेक्टिंग, मैंने लोगों को बोला था कि आई एम वाचिंग अ गुजराती फिल्म, फिल्म ऑफ माय मदर टंग इन
yeah.
इन अ फिल्म फेस्टिवल व्हिच इज लाइक अ
Great,
रेयर,
very rare. Yeah.
वेरी,
And
अरे
even
rare.
there was this other film that was Who Unshilal was also screened, right? The 92 film starring Dilip Joshi. That was also screened at Mami,
Ah,
which is
yes.
very surprising. I just watched it earlier this year and I was like, oh,
ओके, बट
yeah,
आई डोंट लाइक वही कि वैसी वैसी ही पहली बात तो गुजराती फिल्म्स हार्डली
yeah,
लाइक इतने बड़े स्टेज पे जाती है, और जब भी जाती है तो तभी आई वाज एक्सपेक्टिंग टू बी अ गुजराती फिल्म, मे बी लाइक वो डायलेक्ट अगर फिर भी थोड़ा चेंज हो फिर भी हमें एटलीस्ट पता तो चल
yeah,
जाता, लेकिन इट्स आउट एंड
definitely.
आउट एन हिंदी फिल्म.
Hmm.
दैट इज द ओनली कंप्लेन आई हैव, बस.
Isn't it more like it is the production is based in Gujarat? Don't you think that's like the
But the production is, the setting is in Ahmedabad, Gujarat,
yeah, but
about the Muslim community in
in
there.
Gujarat,
True
yeah,
that,
living in the
but
ghettos of Ahmedabad,
yes,
basically.
absolutely. But okay, if you're making that, just don't bill it,
Yeah, yeah.
like don't promote it as
I
a
get it. I
Gujarat.
get it.
Like promote it as a normal Hindi film. Um,
Yeah.
Absolutely, it can definitely work. I watched
But
many.
I think it's also trying to tag on to the success of Chillo show, right? So
Okay.
it's like a great thing for people like us who are basically
Hmm.
whose first language is Gujarati, right?
Yes,
So I
absolutely.
think yeah. Did you? I mean, I know a lot of people had this issue with the film, even though it's 90 minutes long or hardly 90 minutes long. Did you have any problem with the pacing?
पेसिंग वर्क्स वेल, मुझे ऐसा
Yeah,
कुछ नहीं लगा, जस्ट फ्री फ्लोइंग है कि आगे आगे
because
बढ़
it's
रही है अभी.
consistent, right?
कंसिस्टेंट, एग्जैक्टली,
Yeah,
कि आगे आगे बढ़ रही है. इट्स अबाउट द लाइव्स of the people living in that community, or about the people struggling kind of to survive,
yeah,
the man in the houses
yeah,
trying to earn some, लाइक ऑन अ लिविंग, लाइक
yeah.
पहले थोड़ी चीजें वर्कआउट नहीं हो रही थी, फिर जाके अभी थोड़ी वर्कआउट करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, वैसे इट्स अबाउट दैट
Mm-hmm.
एज वेल, मेनी मल्टीपल स्टोरी लाइन्स अंडर दैट,
Mm-hmm.
and wonderfully shown in black and white as well. So
Yeah.
kind of like many people might have realized that like at least मेरे एक दोस्त को तो Iranian cinema का realize
Ah,
हुआ.
definitely, definitely. It is very realistic and it's very mundane about the mundane hardships that these ostracized communities are basically going through. And yeah, it's the kind of film where, there's always that one film every year which I cannot articulate about, which I just can't go on speaking about because it just overwhelms the shit out of me. Which
Mhm.
color is that film for me this year? But
Wow.
yeah,
Kayo
yeah,
Kayo. Wow, that's
yeah.
great.
I think yeah, but my number two is 12th fail, and again you've talked already quite a lot about it in a very good, precise way. So I think there's that, and again that one scene in 12th fail, the interview scene is obviously great. It is peak Viduvino Chopra, and I wrote this on my short letterbox review that no one would ever come close to the way in which how Viduvino Chopra summarizes and encapsulates the entire context, thematic context of his films through the use of rear view mirrors. So there's a scene. It's one of my favorite scenes from Parinda where we see it's a foreshadowing thingy, okay, and where we see the lighter go on and we see through the rear view mirror. And there's a similar scene in the first acts of 12th Fail where basically the police officer who eventually goes to inspire Vikrant Massi's Manoj Sharma, he's basically talking with him while he's sitting in the back seat, and he's literally in the back seat of behind him, right? And he's sitting in
Mhm.
the front driving the car, and the way those little recurring motives are brought back, and the way it's proper like setup payoff, and the interview scene, the reveal where he finally realizes that he's cracked it, the way Vikrant Masi embodies the shift from being a vulnerable everyday guy to literally crumbling down on his feet because of the weight of his own achievement. I just rewatched it. It came out today on Hotstar, and I was just rewatching it for this list I'm making. That's a whole separate thing. And I just skimmed through that one scene, and I was like, "Fuck, I need to rewatch this movie." Yeah, I'm sorry, but it's absolutely an amazing film, and I wrote this in my review for Donkey, right? That
Mhm.
because obviously Hirani and Vidhu Vinod Chopra have been long associated with working together. They have co-produced a lot of films, and yeah, they've inculcated Bollywood with a great term of like they have quietly shaped our culture in terms of cinematic knowledge, right?
Mhm.
And I think Donkey and 12th Fail, the fact that they have come out in the same year is a testament to how it's okay if you are hitting all those generic storytelling beats and if you're ticking them off. Okay,
Mhm.
it's okay to make a generic story or to adapt any kind of underdog been there than that story, as long as your filmmaking is having that vigorous energy behind it. Okay. And 12th Fail is a testament to that people can go on telling the same stories for as long as they can, as long as the filmmaking is this good. Yeah, 12th
Mhm.
Fail absolutely a best Hindi movie of the year. Easily. I don't think even there's anything that comes close. Probably other than Stolen or Joram, but yeah.
मतलब like official kind of release जैसे नहीं थी इसलिए
Yeah,
like
exactly, exactly.
theatrical इसलिए हाँ.
What's your
But next one I would say is Gath, which is ambush
oh yeah.
in English, by my man Chatrapal Ninave. Actually, I interviewed him
Oh,
like
okay, okay.
for my
Marathi,
channel
yeah,
as well.
Marathi film.
Maraठी
Oh
film.
yeah, yeah,
मतलब काफी सारे स्ट्रगल्स के बाद ये फिल्म
yeah.
रिलीज हुई है.
The Geo debacle, right?
Geo, yes, absolutely.
Uh,
It was
unfortunately.
backed by Geo, but then it was released by them, and then finally यहाँ पे like they got their world had their world premiere at
Mm,
Berlinale, and
mm,
then it got premiered over here. और फिर जाके I was excited. I was absolutely excited to watch this film
mm.
about the contents, and it never मतलब बोलते हैं ना कि शर्मिंदा मुझे नहीं किया मुझे ऐसा सच में मैं बोलूँगा
Okay.
क्योंकि I was expecting what like I was expecting something very much personal, dark,
Mm.
and gruesome. It's
Okay,
about
okay.
those some people stuck in the middle of the conflict. People
Mm-hmm.
told from their perspective, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
about them, and even uh, like it's also about searching yourself in that particular
Yeah.
conflict as well. uh,
It's the
See,
framing device is basically it's a psychological journey,
drama,
right?
I would say, not a thriller,
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
say.
Yeah,
Drama,
thriller, yeah.
absolutely. Like it's more of a character study of all those characters as
Mm-hmm.
well, and it is explained quite brilliantly by Chhatrapal Ninave in that film.
Mm-hmm.
And even मेरे इंटरव्यू में भी मैं like I would
Mm.
promote that interview right now, but
Yeah.
yes, that
No, no, that's great.
absolutely, like he was
You know
amazing.
what? Actually, Sanjeet and I bumped into him and found out that he was actually staying at the same place where we were during the Mami Fest. And I totally regret not being able to watch it because just the day, on that day where we had planned to go watch it, Sanjeet and I, we were together only. That day, I was down with a very, very bad migraine, and it was the same day. It was the same day where I had to watch two very, very intense movies. So I think that just the impact that those films left on me, I just didn't want to watch anything because I knew that this is going to be a very heavy psychological drama, right? So I wanted to watch it properly, and now I do regret not being able to watch it because the director, he seemed so enthusiastic about talking about his film. I mean, we had such a good time standing in the middle of the balcony and just talking about the process that he went through and the many hardships unfortunately that the production went through. And yeah, Sanjeev told me that Aryan, ye to dekh hi matlab tu jab bhi bahar aaya tha, definitely. But
Zarur.
yeah.
It is going to be releasing very much soon. I spoke with
Yeah,
him, so
yeah.
let's keep our fingers crossed, and like hoping that film releases soon.
Yeah.
So that's
Your
that's the
number
thing.
one? Okay.
एंड नंबर वन, ओके, वैसे तो हाँ बची कि मैं ऐसे नंबर वन, लाइक मैं
Yeah.
सीरियल लाइक ऐसे रैंक नहीं करता हूँ यूजुअली, बट
That's actually better. Yeah.
हाँ, यूजुअली बस दीज आर द 10
That
फेवरेट
will stay
ऑफ
with
द
me.
ईयर. हाँ, वैसे.
Yeah.
सो जस्ट
Hmm.
like I watched those. So yes, the number one film,
Yeah. On the
is
list.
on the list. On the list, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So is this film called Joram, which I watched
So,
in Mami, and like it was an
yeah.
awesome experience, I would say.
Yeah.
Like uh so how engaging that film made me, from the starting till the end.
Definitely.
And and after the even after the screening as well, because I watched this film with Sanjeet. मैंने संजीत के साथ
Uh,
देखी थी, और
yeah.
संजीत और मैं क्यू यूजुअली Q&As में अवॉइड करता हूँ बैठने का, और फिर
Yeah.
मैं
You
सोच रहा था कि
watched it at Mason, right?
मेसन, एब्सोल्युटली
Yeah.
मेसन में. सो और फर्स्ट स्क्रीनिंग मुंबई मुंबई की मामी की
Yeah.
फर्स्ट स्क्रीनिंग थी, और मैं और संजीत गए थे, एंड वी वॉच दिस फिल्म
Mm.
start to end. And a wonderful engaging film
Yeah.
by him, giving like
Would you say
him
that it's his best? Makija's?
um नहीं, देखो, मैं I'm conflicting with Ajji and Joram, because
Oh,
like
okay.
both are par and par. वैसे मैं बोल
Yeah.
सकता हूँ, क्योंकि like अज्जी भी उतनी ही पसंद आई थी जितनी
Mm.
अभी जोरम आई थी. अज्जी
Mm.
इज क्वाइट मोर, बोल सकते हैं कि
Unhinged.
साइलेंट and even slowly pacing going forward.
Yeah.
This is more like a thriller,
Case study,
which
basically.
it is. Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
which it is. But so both मतलब दोनों अलग अलग, लेकिन but दोनों एक
Mm.
सेम पार में है वैसे. So it was
Mm.
good. Devashish Makhija being Devashish Makhija, telling his own political
Yeah.
awareness in
Mm.
this film, showing his political awareness in this film, like what we are doing to the nature. An
Mm.
amazing film, but I don't know इतना ज़्यादा कमा सकी ये
हाँ,
film.
मतलब it's not, it was never meant to do that numbers, right? But
Yes,
yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
I'm sad that it didn't even get a release in Gujarat. And I would have definitely gone to rewatch it on the big screen because
Oh yes.
I watched it way back in Jan or Feb via screener, and I just knew, especially when that train sequence came in, I just knew that I wish I had watched this film in a theater. But yeah, it's fantastic, and this was also fortunately the year where I finally discovered a lot of like good filmmakers, like only the pioneers of cinema, European cinema, whatever. And
Mhm.
you know what was that one filmmaker that I was reminded of while watching Jora?
Mhm.
Michael Antonioni, because the way Makija uses negative space over here and the way he shows the entire dichotomy between nature and technical
Mhm.
advancement, the basically what we have brought down on earth, and those shots by the end in the last act of the movie where we see those close-ups of those huge machines, and we see sand and rock being thrown on earth, and the
Mhm.
way it is juxtaposed with whatever psychological battle that Bajpayee's character, I forgot his name,
Mhm.
something from Asia, the character arc that he goes through, and the way it
Mhm.
ends, it's fantastic. Joram is definitely one of the best films of the year.
Absolutely,
But
absolutely.
yeah,
Well said.
I think
Mm.
my number one is had to restructure my list a bit after you brought it up, and it
Mm.
was the film that was my takeaway from Mami. It was indeed the best film I watched at Mami. It was Which Color, 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 Color. And I watched this film at 11 in the morning, and I was not ready for it. And I knew what its pacing would be like. I was told about it, and I was nicely prepared. I had my cup of coffee along, And by the time the last frame came in, again, setup payoff. But the devastating brutality with which the setup is framed and the eventual payoff, which in itself goes to the payoff in itself is a function of the socio-political realities that this community has been living under in Gujarat since decades now. And I think, see, my number one, you remember I told you that I might cheat my way into this by clubbing two, three movies into a single spot. Okay, I won't. Okay, so if this makes sense,
Mm.
three movies that will absolutely stay with me and will go on to define this political era that we are living in are three movies from this year, being Which Color, while we watch the Vinay Shukla documentary, even though it's technically a 2022 release, but yeah, I wrote a long piece on While We Watched, and I don't want to get into more trouble
But
or into big
लेकिन
trouble
कभी
by
देखी थी लाइक ये नमस्कार मैं
I
रविश
watched
कुमार वाली फिल्म लाइक
I watched it
एक्चुअली
around April, I think.
सो बाय द वे द हिंदी टाइटल ऑफ दिस फिल्म इज
Yeah,
नमस्कार मैं
Namaskar
रविश कुमार
Madam,
मुझे
which is
नाम ही में पता
basically,
चला यस
yeah,
द ओपनिंग ऑफ
yeah, which is
रविश
a great. Oh God, I'm having goosebumps again. It's one of those films where he started Vinay Shukla is a great documentarian. Okay, now he's already like made two, three documentaries and already proven himself among the top filmmakers of our lives. But you know the way the best part about this documentary is that he clearly had no idea, like shooting into 2017, from 2017-18, going into the 2019 general election cycle, he clearly didn't know how it would turn out. Okay, even though a lot of people did have that pessimistic view of how it would eventually turn out, how bleak things would get going ahead. But it's the kind of film where the recurring motif of the cake being cut in his office each time a member from the staff retires. And it's the kind of film, it's a kind of documentary where you don't even have to go out of your way to make it seem poetic and cinematic. The reality in itself is so tragically imposing and haunting that that in itself is very effective. And the way the film ends and the way things turn out, and knowing, watching it now in 2023 with the knowledge of what transpired between the years, right? Between 2019 and between 2022, 2023, the eventual takeover of NDTV by the crony capitalists that we have all come to know about, okay? And yet we won't get any answers revealed of whatever questions that we have all been asking for a year now. And I think it's one of those films that transcends the medium and it will always stay there. Like it will be the quintessential reflection of our times. It may be one of the last reflection of our times on celluloid, considering the new rules that we have now on upon us. And the last, it's a short film basically. I'll just end with this. Char Chappale by Anurag Kashyap, written by Varun Grover. Please, people should, production houses, studio houses, OTT platforms, just give X amount of whatever money to get Anurag Kashyap to work along with Varun Grover, because the kind of writing, the kind of poignant, melancholic undertones that Grover's writing has, combined with the explosive, edgy, unhinged approach behind the camera that Kashyap brings in his films, I think that just balances itself out and gives us some of the most moving portraits of cinema we've had in a while. I mean, I love Sacred Games. A lot of people have reservations with the second season of it. I happen to love it. I love whatever they have worked upon. And Char Chappale, which is Four Sleepers, the English title, it's a 31-minute short film. Again, as I said, these all three films, I can like basically write the same disclaimer for each, and it would apply to every one of it, because, and that's why I have it on this, on my number one, basically. Because see, at the end, cinema, I have added like those hijinks movies on my list, movies that we go for pure fun, right? But eventually, what cinema acts like, especially in a country like us, it's an eye opener. It is a constant stimulator in the society, right? And there's a high chance that these three films that we got this year, and not even a lot of people have seen these. Char Chappal is not even officially out anywhere, even though it's backed by Geo Studios. There's no sign of it coming, getting an official release anytime soon. And the fact that these three films came out in the same year, and the unfortunate reality that these might be the last of its kind, that in itself gives me a strong excuse to put them on number one. And if people in the future going ahead come back to this episode or whatever, come back to this year and discover these films, they would know that at the time people were raising their voices before they eventually got crushed out. So yeah.
सच में। यू नो आर्यन, मुझे अभी 2 और फ़िल्म्स आई मेरे
Yeah, go ahead.
दिमाग में एज़ इन मेरे लि लिस्ट में। आई
Yeah.
कंप्लीटली फॉरगॉट अबाउट इट, लाइक ऑब्वियसली विडुतलाई तो है ही, लेकिन येस देयर इज़ ओनली वन, लाइक देयर आर 2 फ़िल्म्स, मैं आपके क्यू लूँगा, लेकिन बिफोर दैट देयर इज़ अ कमेंट फ्रॉम वरुण, आर्यन चैनलिंग ध्रुव प्लस अमर द लेवल ऑफ पेसिमिज्म। बहुत अच्छी
नहीं
बात है,
यार.
बहुत अच्छी बात है। सो
Sanjeev
येस।
Sanjeev knows how I like my socio-political messaging in my films, in the films I watch.
सही में, सही में। सो दिस फ़िल्म जो तूने मेंशन किया था
Yeah,
आर्यन, व्हिच
yeah,
इज़ विडुतलाई पार्ट 1। आई एम एक्साइटेड
yeah.
फॉर विडुतलाई पार्ट 2। जिन
Fun.
लोगों ने मुझे बोला था कि सितंबर में आ रही है, पता नहीं
हाँ, वो
कब
क्या हो
आएगी यार।
गया? Yeah.
एग्ज़ैक्टली, लेकिन ठीक है, इट्स ओके, इट्स वर्थ द वेट ऑब्वियसली।
It's smart. It's a smart move actually because part one is getting a lot of momentum going into this end of the year list. So
एब्सोल्युटली।
yeah.
नहीं, लेकिन अनफॉर्च्यूनेट एक चीज़ थी कि मैंने उसका एक्सटेंडेड वर्ज़न अब तक देखा नहीं है ज़ी5 पे।
Oh, right,
I
right, right.
watched this film in the theater, like
Oh,
एक
nice.
first ever I would say a film which I paid for,
Hmm.
जिसके बारे में लाइक जो रीजनल लैंग्वेज, साउथ इंडियन रीजनल लैंग्वेज
Oh,
फिल्म है,
nice.
जो जिसके बारे में मैंने पहली बार टिकट खरीद के थिएटर में देखी है।
Hmm.
एंड आई मोस्टली वॉच्ड विद अ साउथ इंडियन ग्रुप, लाइक
Hmm.
पीपल फ्रॉम साउथ इंडिया, लाइक यहाँ पे जो
Hmm.
आए हैं वैसे, विद
Okay.
सबटाइटल्स ऑब्वियसली।
Yeah.
द ब्रो द फर्स्ट शॉट, इवन लाइक क्या हिला डाला, वैसे बोल सकते हैं, हिला डाला
Yeah.
वैसे। द फर्स्ट शॉट, द लॉन्ग टेक, कि
Yeah.
कैसे पूरा द ट्रेन इंसिडेंट
Yeah.
गॉट अनफोल्डेड एंड पीपल वर हेल्पिंग ईच अदर, एंड लाइक हाउ इट वाज हैपनिंग।
And the way he goes on about how they spent such a difficult time on the production, shooting that one scene, the opening scene itself, and there was an unfortunate death in the crew, and it's like, oh God, just watching Vetrimaran talk about it, it's yeah,
एब्सोल्युटली। इवन जब भी आगे के इन फ्यूचर, लाइक इन आगे के थोड़ी सीन्स जब हमें
yeah.
पता चलता है, इट्स अबाउट एन अंडरडॉग कॉप, कि
Hmm.
एक एक बंदा जो आगे ऊपर चढ़ने की कोशिश कर रहा है। और बाय द वे इसके बाद, फिल्म के बाद मुझे पता चला कि ही इज एक्चुअली अ कॉमेडियन वैसे। बट सच एन
Hmm.
ऑसम परफॉर्मेंस ही पोर्ट्रेड इन दिस फिल्म। और
Hmm.
एक जगह भी ऐसा नहीं लगा कि like it like there's a comedian in this particular role. So
Hmm.
it was an awesome film.
Yeah.
um the main thing why like this is in my top list of Indian films, because um
Hmm.
यार इतनी कोरली डिस्टर्बिंग फिल्म थी, in terms of in Indian film as well, कि
Hmm.
how they are torturing the tribals,
Yeah.
and how just it is portrayed so much darkly in this
Hmm.
film. Like it kind of broke my heart
Hmm.
while watching that on
And
those
even the
scenes.
simpler tricks, right? There's this one song again. Ilyaraja
Hmm.
still continues to rock at this point in his career. There's this one shot where we're getting this romantic track, and
Hmm.
Suji, wow, I'm really bad at names. The lead actor is
Hmm.
following his lover, his partner, from behind, and it's followed. It's a shot. It's a tracking shot where you see those juknus in the background. Okay, and they eventually come in the foreground, light up the screen, and it's literally it's his awakening, right? The entire story, it is his awakening. And I mean, Ilayaraja has given us some of the like best music compositions in our country, right? Not just in Tamil cinema, but it's just the way Vetrimaran's veteran skills, filmmaking skills blend into creating this very atmospheric, albeit very bleak film. And it's that's the reason why I had a problem. I had a very a palpable problem with the editing in this film with Uthalai, and that's probably one of the reasons why it's keeping itself so low on my list, relatively speaking. Otherwise, apart from that, and I can understand that's how the sensibilities are. For a lot of viewers, for Vetimaran himself, and that doesn't mean that he's lesser of a filmmaker. The movie and the success of his is a testament to how great his vision is, and I mean, I think they are deliberately pushing back part two, because I was just going through the lineup for PIF Pune Film Festival, basically, which is next month, and they have part one screening, which is, and there's going to be a lot of international jury and all. So I think it's a very smart move to get more backing, to get the word of mouth going. So I think there's definitely that angle, which is actually smart. I don't mind waiting more for it, but I
Okay.
do hope that the editing is a bit better. Yeah.
ओके ओके दैट्स फेयर बट मैं जैसे कि पहले भी बोल रहा था कि अ कॉमेडियन प्लेइंग अ डार्कर रोल आई लव्ड
That
दिस
is
फिल्म कॉल्ड आई लव्ड दिस फिल्म कॉल्ड Zwigato which
oh,
came
I
out
have
in
not. It's again one of those films that just got lost because of a shitty production, distributor schedule, whatever. You know what? I couldn't watch it in the theater because I had my finals when it came out. It came out during February or March, right?
मार्च में
Yeah,
हुआ
and
था
there were like 2 3 shows, and by the
हार्डली
time
कोई शो हार्डली
yeah, by the time I finally intended that screw it, let's just go watch it, like screw the exams, I'll get around with it. It's anyways 2 hours. They had removed the showings from it, and it would make sense. I mean, Nandita Das and Gujarat and the politics of Gujarat are like not really diametrically in the same direction. So, but yeah, I would love to watch that film. Yeah, I hope it comes out soon. It's
होप सो
Geo, right?
क्योंकि जियो आई डोंट थिंक सो ब्रो वो जी
Geo or
जी
Reliance, ये तो
नो 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 Zwigato is a
see.
Z bro
Yeah.
बिकॉज इतना पता था कि इट्स आई थिंक सो जी ही है क्योंकि मैं जब तक तो देख रहा था इट्स नॉट जियो
Hmm. Then what's the issue? I
Applause,
mean,
sorry, Applause Entertainment. Yes, not Geo. Sorry, not Geo,
okay,
not
okay.
Z. It's Applause Entertainment. Uh,
Okay.
but yes, I would like love to see show this film to my parents because like
Mhm.
itni simplistic film about people working during COVID times. Um, um, and I loved the way how they ended the film. मैं नहीं बोलूँगा, but it's just going. बस
Okay. Oh
it's
man.
so satisfying of an ending. Um,
Is it like properly pessimistic, or is it like vaguely
नहीं नहीं बहुत अच्छी थी
ambiguous?
बहुत अच्छी थी नो 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 बहुत
Okay.
अच्छी थी लाइक इट्स अबाउट द जर्नी बस दैट्स
Okay,
मैं
okay.
ज्यादा नहीं बोलूंगा क्योंकि फिर
Yeah.
रिवील
No,
हो
no, no.
जाएगा बट इट्स नॉट दैट ऑफ एन एंडिंग की अरे बाप रे एंडिंग का पता चल गया तो क्या लेकिन इट्स just about that people who were delivering foods
Hmm.
वैसे
Hmm.
like delivering foods to people and
Hmm.
how people used to just look at those people and like उनकी journey कि एक अगर order miss हो गया कि ऐसा कुछ
Hmm.
हो गया तो क्या हो जाएगा and it's about that
Right,
and
right. The
लोगों
consequences of basically even
consequences
going
और
to,
even यार लोन चुकाना है ये करना है वो करना है it's their struggle
Hmm.
हाँ यार सभी के लाइफ में स्ट्रगल होते हैं आई अंडरस्टैंड बट ओके
Yeah.
इस इसके लाइफ में भी स्ट्रगल थी जस्ट आई इट वाज सैटिस्फाइंग टू सी दिस फिल्म एट द एंड मुझे तो वही लगा मैं आई कुडंट
Hmm.
बोलते ना कि थिंक मोर अबाउट दैट other films I would say or other people's life but so it was okay
Hmm. I
I
get it. I
loved
get
it
it. You know
इसलिए
what's another film that I wish I had watched earlier? It could have potentially been on my list. It's Pokhar ke dono par. on either
पोखेर
sides of
के दोनों पोखेर के दोनों
at
पार
least Pokhur ke dono par. It recently came out on movie, right?
मूवी
Yeah. I really want to watch this film because it seems
से
really interesting. And yeah, tell me what like name two films that you wish you had liked more, like Indian films, obviously from this year. What would they be?
यार मैं आशा बहुत रख रहा था इस फ़िल्म को लेके लाइक ये एक फ़िल्म मैंने देखी थी मामी में
Mhm.
येलो बस करके जो
Mhm.
मैं आशा रख रहा था अच्छी लगेगी लेकिन नहीं अच्छी लगी मुझे। सो
Mhm.
लाइक एक ही और फ़िल्म थी बस बाकी तो ठीक है जवान में और क्या ही एक्सपेक्ट करूँ मैं लेकिन ऐसा हो गया था मैं
Yeah, I really don't think like people whenever this diss onto the I don't want to get into that debate again. See, I I practically left the screening of Jawan with a migraine. Okay, I know it's not my kind of film, but as I said, I just appreciate the forum, the stardom, and at least masala cinema filmmaking style that he's using as a catalyst to sit in conversation with some of the most pressing issues our times,
हुँ,
which people have grown extremely passive to. And he's the only star, relatively least controversial big star superstar of our times, probably the last one of our times, who has that ability to communicate that, to sit in the conversation with the democratic uh, values that our country has always had, it at least the ones that it seemed to have.
सही है, अच्छी
So
चीज़ है।
yeah, that's why I love. I loved what it meant and how the film played out in the theater, but no, never watching it again.
ये समर्थ्य अब तक चल रहा है आर्यन इज ऑन फायर
Yeah, yeah, I'm trying to balance the cold out of through the fire.
there's one question for as compared to 2022
Yeah,
2023 was
yeah,
not that
true,
much
true.
good for
You know
Malayalam.
what? What another film that wow, I'm making myself seem very, very ill prepared for this episode. But another film that I was going to watch, but then I didn't end up going, was Kathal, the core. Okay, the Mammootty film.
Theo Babies film,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. And I couldn't watch it because Sanjeet and Dhruv told me that they had some issues with the subtitles when they went to watch it at PVR. So I was like, I'm probably not wasting my weekend for a movie that is, going to fuck it up like technically.
Hmm.
So I'll just wait. And again, it has it's screening at PIF. So I'll
Hmm.
probably watch it there. Oh, and speaking of Malayalam film, can I just go on regarding
Just
one
one,
last film?
just one, just one last.
Oh God, I have been very conflicted whether to put this film on the list or not, but I guess I didn't. So I'll just mention it like this because this is definitely a film that I would rewatch soon, within this month. Nan Pakal Nerattu Mayakam, and
Okay,
we
Mama
did an
Too.
entire like 2 hour episode or something on Queen is Dead about this film and how it's truly experimental in its approach and extremely metaphysical in how it's trying to go around its themes. And I've always been a sucker for these mundane, like so many of the films on my list over here are like those very mundane realistic films, and this film is that 10 times, like add in, dial up the notch and create that realism angle in a very metaphysical way. So those are the kind of films that I've always admired. I just don't know if it's worked equally well emotionally for me. But yeah, Naan Pakal definitely it's one of the most intellectual, intricate movies of the year.
Okay, there's a comment. I think Malayalam films wanted to
Yeah,
go more commercial this time, King of Kota, which didn't work at all.
I think it was
There have
following
been
2018 success, don't you think? They're like trying to go a bit
हो सकता है
mainstream.
बट
Yeah.
नहीं जाने की जरूरत है यार क्योंकि दे
हाँ,
आर
they are they are the
लाइक
only so much
हाँ
nuance, right?
लाइक एग्जैक्टली लाइक उन लोग जैसे है वैसे ही अच्छे आई वुड से
Exactly.
वैसे
Yeah.
बट यस
King of Kota was this guy, na? Dulquer Salman.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
so. Yes, but
Oh,
yes,
you
thank you so much, the
didn't have
Aryan, for
Salar
this
or any movie in the honorable mentions. Did you watch? You
after
didn't?
taking.
Amartya will put Salar. Amartya honorable mentions में डाल दो जाने से पहले.
But yes, thank you so much, Aryan, for joining. It's like 1.5 घंटे का podcast बना है, but discussing all
Yeah.
the the best and some Mami films as well. Yes,
Yeah.
and Amartya ने सालार देखी है and it's very good. उसको अच्छी
Oof.
लगी है. So yes,
Yeah.
but thank you so much, Aryan, for coming to this podcast. Loved chatting with you. बहुत मजा आ गया यार करने में. We should do this more often.
Definitely. Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much, and hope to see you soon. And also, people can follow Aryan on Instagram, where his handle is Aryan Talks Films. My Instagram handle is Cinephile _ Sanket. Thank you so much for joining. Very good night.
खत्म.